Hello, Ruby here. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am a psychic medium, tarot reader, astrologer, and priestess. And today I want to talk about how to give yourself better tarot readings, how to read more effectively for yourself. One of the biggest pieces of feedback I get from others is that they really struggle to read their own cards. And I know for my own personal journey and my own journey as a tarot reader, it was always much easier for me to read for other people, to connect in with other people's guidance than it was for myself. And learning how to give myself, grounded and effective tarot readings is a journey that I have undergone. So I just wanted to share some tips and tricks with you, for how to, read for yourself in a way that is going to be, connected in and effective, especially if you're one of these people that feels like you struggle to get clear messages or to read for yourself, okay? And if you see me looking over here, I'm looking at my notes. So the first, piece of advice I would give you when reading for yourself is to come in with a calm nervous system and an embodied state of being. So, come into your reading with your nervous system, in a calm state, in a not aroused state, in a place of embodiment. So there's lots of different practices that you can do, to come into a reading in this state. Before your reading, you can do yoga, you can do breath work, you can meditate, you can do ecstatic dance, you can do some type of creative practice, singing, playing an instrument. You can go take a walk, you can take a bath, you can exercise. But you want to come into the reading space not in analytical, logical mind. So if you're coming in like more of a frantic, like nervous system state, like you need to know the answer right away, or you are coming in and like you just got off of work and you're still in the part of your brain that wants to solve problems and get things done and think in a really linear way, you're not coming into the reading space in a place of mind or body that is aligned to receive a clear intuitive message. So even if you're just cleansing yourself with sacred smoke and taking a few deep aligned breaths, what you can do before reading to get your nervous system in a state of rest and replenishment and to get out of analytical mind and into intuition, into body mind, all of that will result in a more clear, more connected in reading for yourself, okay? The other thing I would recommend, or the second tip that I would recommend for more effective self-readings, is to set a clear intention at the beginning of your reading. The more I work as a spiritual healer and teacher, the more it becomes so apparent to me how important intention is. And it's something that can be done so simply. It is really an act of remembrance to set clear intentions. So before, most readings, I would say, almost all of the readings I do, I set intention. And this can be as simple and as quick as, I now connect in with the guides of the highest truth and compassion. What do I need to know right now? But by setting intention, you put in the field what you are desiring to draw in. So, if there's something, specific that you're asking about, set an intention around that. I call in the guides of the highest truth and compassion, please give me clarity on this relationship, this situation, etc. Okay? So the third, piece of advice I would give you to, really elevate your self-readings is to practice emotional detachment about the content of the message, to keep a curious mind, to detach from your own feeling of what, the message is. I think that this can be particularly difficult, especially if we are really wanting an answer. Like if we are doing a love reading and we really want this relationship to work out and we draw the devil, the Three of Swords, the Tower, the Seven of Swords, the Five of Cups, like, we can have some strong emotions around what that message means, right? But whenever we start feeling resistance around the message, we come into a place of contraction and fear around it. We shut off our channel. That contraction, that attachment to a certain message or a certain outcome, it will just close off your ability to receive the wisdom coming in, the stream of guidance. So in those moments, you don't need to, discredit your feelings. But if I drew a love reading and all those cards came out, what I would try my best to do is to keep a really open, curious mind, and then ask, draw more cards. Okay, what is the invitation here? What is the karma here? Is this fixed? How fixed is this outcome? What is the lesson? What next step in this relationship is in my highest good? So just if you're feeling like there's a sense of contraction coming for a reading, if you keep a curious mind, you can ask a question to bring in more clarity, to smoothen out those places where they might be where there might be contraction. And that's why coming in with like a calm nervous system, an embodied state, is so helpful. Because if you're coming in really anxious, maybe you're in a relationship and your attachment style is really anxious and that person isn't contacting you and you're all frenzied coming into a reading, and then you pull cards and you get, the Five of Cups, the Three of Swords, the Devil. If you're coming in that place of contraction, like, you're gonna see the worst possible scenario. But if you have those tendencies towards anxious attachment, but you do the work to calm your nervous system, and then you come into the reading and you draw the Five of Cups, the Three of Swords, the Devil, maybe that message, by keeping a curious mind, instead of that message meaning, the worst possible thing that you can think of, maybe that message means, okay, you're in a pattern of being really afraid of heartbreak. And the Devil and the Three of Swords and the Five of Cups here might mean, okay, we're creating our own misery. We're caught in a cycle of love not working out, of love being just love being connected to negative emotions, love being connected to feeling that Five of Cups energy, that loneliness, that despair. Or maybe some of our past experiences of heartbreak are causing us to feel some really intense emotions about the current circumstance. So does this make sense? It's like when you keep an open mind, you're not, and this is going to connect into the next piece of advice that I have for you. But if you can, practice an emotional detachment about the messages and keep your mind open and keep your nervous system calm around messages, you'll receive more clarity around them. You're not going to just immediately start catastrophizing. Okay, and your follow-up questions and your follow-up pulls will be coming from a more centered place, and you'll just get a better reading. You'll get a more grounded, clear reading, and you'll be able to actually interpret the message accurately. Okay, and this leads into my next piece of advice, which is to release rigidity of card meetings. So a lot of my card meetings are informed not just by, all of the studying I have done on the system of tarot, but what the cards tell me about themselves. And so, there's certain cards that I have specific, I know what this card means, that I only have that because I allowed life to inform my interpretation of that card, if that makes sense. So let's see if I can give you a good example on this. Okay. So, this might be one that has a little more of, like, I think I've heard other readers talk about this. So this isn't one that's just to me. But this is just the first one that came to mind. So for me, the Six of Cups is connected to past lives. I've never seen that in a book, but I think I've heard a couple of my other reader colleagues share that that meaning has come forward for them as well. So Six of Cups is past lives, right? So let's say, you're doing a reading for yourself and the Six of Cups comes up and you don't know that the Six of Cups for you is connected to past lives. And so you get stuck in your meaning of what the Six of Cups is, and you can't let the intuitive wisdom come in. You're thinking about it too logically. You're thinking about the card meanings too rigidly. If you, again, and this is connected to keeping an open, curious mind, if you draw a spread and you see the cards, and you can actually tune into the energy of the cards themselves and really ask each card, okay, what does this mean in this moment? What do you mean in this moment? Are there any other meanings that I'm not aware of about this card? Then you will start pulling in more information about your spread or about your card pull than if you were just keeping to your own textbook definition of the cards. And this leads me to my last point for how to give yourself more effective readings. And that is, think of your cards as a being, an entity, an energy that you are in relationship with, and build a relationship with your cards. Have an actual relationship with your cards that is always deepening. Instead of coming to the cards and just like looking for an answer, come into the cards like you were having a conversation with a friend. And this is going to help with you not feeling so attached to certain outcomes. Because if the cards are a friend that you're having a conversation with, you can relax into the messages coming through. You can relax into maybe some rigidity you have around card meanings. And each time you come to read for yourself, each time you come to your altar or your reading table or wherever you read, you're deepening that relationship. Each time you're with the cards and the relationship deepens, your readings will become more seamless, more fluid, more effortless, okay? So, I thought it might be fun if, to close out this video, I just do like a 5-card draw for myself. So you can kind of see how I read for myself, okay? I don't really typically do spreads. I usually draw 5 cards at a time. I have a loose meaning for, what each of those 5 cards means. So it's maybe a spread, but it's not, it's very loose and intuitive. I prefer to read a little more fluidly, to not have as much rigidity in, my reading style. Though I do implement spreads into my practice every once in a while, as I feel called. Okay, so setting an intention, calling in the guides of the highest light, truth, and compassion, surrounding this reading in protective golden light, asking the cards, what do I need to know right now? And I'm reading from the Rain Shadow Tarot, okay? And I have the High Priestess, the Two of Pentacles, the Eight of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, and the King of Wands. All right, so this is how I would interpret this message for myself. So first of all, I always like to just, take kind of a deep breath. And this is part of, coming in an embodied state. It's just like taking a moment to look at each card and to pull in the energy of each card. Because all of these cards, they're multivalent and they're multidimensional. They all have all of these different streams of possible divinatory meaning. And so it's like, yeah, you can know the card. You can know the card definition logically. But in the moment, to really perceive and pull into what that card is saying to you, what aspect of that card, what element of that multidimensional energy, that multivalent energy wants to be pulled forth, and divined, that's the intuitive process of reading for the self, okay? So this is how I would read this spread. Okay, so something is changing about my own connection to my intuition, about my own connection to inner sight and inner perception. I want to go deeper. There's something about my intuitive capability, how I read, my work as a priestess, my work as a psychic, that's shifting, that's changing, and I've been feeling this. It wants to be pulled deeper. And this is going to come with me really going after my passions in a slow and steady way. So considering myself more an authority on my passions, really grounding into that drive, and to build progress slow and steady every single day. So, I recently launched a Patreon where I'm channeling messages from the divine feminine, from the goddess. And holding space in that way is new for me. And there's been some fear around, putting that online. Is that going to be well received? Are people going to join it? It's a little more of an, how do I say this? So it's a departure from how I've previously shown up in spaces. But I've been noticing as I engage in that work that my connection to channeling deity, it's gotten so much clearer. And so I'm feeling, okay, this message for me is to keep going, to keep pushing myself into the deep end of the pool, working on it a little more every day. And that's really going to cause me to ground into that energy, be an authority in what I'm working on down the line. Okay? So I could, dive in deeper. I could go deeper. I could pull additional cards. But I think I'll keep it there. So that's like a little example of how I read for myself. And sometimes if you struggle to get stuck, speak your readings to yourself as if you were reading for another person. Verbalize your readings like you were talking to your friend, talking to the person that you're reading for. And see if that shifts. Sometimes when we're stuck in here, we can get stuck. We can just kind of get caught in our own mental plane, our own ego mind. So, try speaking out your readings. You can even record them. Or you can journal them out too. I do that sometimes too. I'll pull cards and then I'll journal out what I think the meaning is. So, I hope that was helpful for you. If you are interested in, grounding more into your ability to, intuit and perceive, I would recommend, joining my Patreon community. I'll join the link in the bio. Each month we work with a different goddess. And so it is, this opportunity to really connect in with an energy of the divine frequently over time. Okay. And, I would recommend also just like reading for yourself more often, not in a, a grabby, give me all the answers way, but in a building relationship with your cards way. It's like having a conversation with your guides, or having a conversation with your higher self, or having a conversation with a friend. Okay? That's how I come to my cards. And whenever I'm in that grabby energy, which I rarely am now, as a reader, but I will say, if my nervous system is really activated and I haven't done that work to come in an embodied way, or if I'm reading on a relationship, those are the hardest readings for me to do is romantic relationship readings. Mostly just because of the resistance to the answers that come through that I know are going to come through. That's when I will tend to call in another reader. And I do, see other readers as well. I think it's really healthy to see another reader as a reader and not put all that pressure on yourself to divine messages for everyone else and for you. But when I come into a reading with that grabby energy, it's like the reading is not, I don't want to say it's not helpful, because it's helpful, but it's not a source of peace. It usually becomes a source of, inner tension or conflict. Okay. So I will leave it there, but I am, sending you so much love, and I am wishing you well.